This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel. MEI and Mousefan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com. This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, June 6th, 2007, and this is episode 265 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm your host, Matt Hochberg of MGMstudios.org. On the show today, we have Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Len, if you were to recommend one Van Halen album to somebody, what would it be?
Fair Warning.
Fair Warning.
Everyone knows that it's the best Van Halen album.
Everyone.
Really?
Okay.
Everyone. I mean,
really?
Steve Seifert would back you up on it?
Definitely. I mean,
Really?
the casual fan would say Van Halen won.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everyone knows that Eddie actually invented his own guitar sound for Fair Warning.
Well, if Len is to Van Halen, then Mike Newell is to Rush.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike,
2112, my friend.
Well, baby.
And only a casual fan would know. No, okay, I'm kidding.
No, everyone needs that. My first roommate in college was a huge Rush fan, and we listened to that. And he was a drummer, too.
I'm going to see them in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they put on a good show. Still,
Yeah.
they still tour.
Awesome, yeah.
and a man who
Wait, I forgot we have a show to do.
Watch it.
First person.
Bang? Oh, God.
A man who was the first person to bang rocks together and call it music. Mouseplanet.com. That did not come out as I planned. Just a bad pause, I guess. But like,
Well, you can relax now, Mangello. Everything's under control, and we'll be on our way to the Endor moon with any further delay.
start.
Dying.
It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and we've got first one is from Jeff from Texas, who writes, Matt, Len, and Mike squared. I have enjoyed your show since the first installment. Where's Christina? We need more stories.
She moved to Washington, D.C., but we're going to have her on again.
My question concerns the Flower and Garden Festival. How quickly do the flower displays get taken down from Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival? Our first scheduled day to visit Epcot is June 11th.
Oh, 6.
It was June 4th, but okay, whatever. It's, it's close enough. Which is the day after it's over, June 4th. Is it going to be up? Will it have been up looking back on it since we broadcast live? Once it's over, right? But I mean,
The topiaries start coming down, but the flowers are still around. It's the topiaries and the special,
there won't be any
exhibits.
special exhibits that'll be there anymore.
No, they'll be closed down, and I'm sure that they'll be taken down, within a week. But the topiaries then come down, but the rest of the flowers stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Next email is from Don from Taylor, Michigan, who writes, Hi, it's Don from Taylor, Michigan, and I have the Disney craze. I'm getting married on July 7th, 2007, and we have 2 weeks reserved in the honeymoon suite at the Polynesian. Is there any ideas that you have to make my honeymoon more romantic?
Well, you could
Watch
make
it.
an ADR at Narcoosse's.
Exactly.
What a great way to get your
No,
marital
he
life.
was married like Narcoosse's. I mean, geez, romantic. You could definitely have flowers delivered every maybe twice during your stay, and Disney the concierge will definitely help you do that. Disney has a florist on property, and I think that's a good way to do that. You can definitely do some quiet dinners. One of the things about theme park dining is it's tough to avoid kids, but there are definitely some places where you can go for a quiet bite to eat. That would include things like a corner booth at Brown Derby in the Disney MGM Studios, perhaps Jico at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. Where else, guys? Quiet dinner. I mean, I know we joke about it, but like Narcoossee's probably would be fairly quiet and have some decent
quiet dinner, huh?
sit-goes.
Artist Point.
Yeah, it's still kind of noisy, but yeah.
I think Le Cellier can be, there aren't that many romantic tables in Le Cellier, but I think Le Cellier, there are some booths towards the back near the bathrooms that are pretty nice. They're pretty quiet.
The big boat, downtown Disney. Drawing a blank.
The
Crab
Crab
House?
House.
Yeah.
Fulton's Crab
Fulton's,
House.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
And Yachtsman Steakhouse is also pretty good, although a little bit noisy. But if you they have like a sort of an alcove area that faces the water, and they've got a couple of tables for two there, right near the windows, and those can be pretty fun too. I really like the steakhouse actually. I think the Yachtsman is definitely improving.
Good.
So I think flowers, romantic dinners. Oh, spa! Do a spa visit. His and hers massages, baby.
There you go.
So I think, and so that's interesting because you're staying at the Polynesian. You would think that the Grand Floridian would be the better spa, but I would say that Saratoga Springs is probably a better bet for you. We just did a complete spa evaluation for Disney and non-Disney spas for the next edition of the book. Ding! and Saratoga Springs came out ahead of the Grand Floridian.
Great. Next email is from Veronica Snyder of Crowncast Podcast, and Veronica writes to us, "Hi, Matt, Mike, and Len. First, mad props to you on a great podcast. We listen all the time. My husband and I are celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. We honeymooned to Walt Disney World, and we're planning a weekend trip to the world for September 13th through September 16th. We're staying 3 nights at Coronado Springs with free dining and have 4-day park hopper passes. We're using Magical Express for the first time. We'll arrive in Orlando at about 10 a.m. on Thursday and leave at 6 p.m. on Sunday. And we're trying to decide how to maximize our park time, but we also don't want to go commando style through the parks as it's just the two of us. So, what would you suggest for our arrival day? Spectrum Magic is only on that night, but that is not a make or break for us."
So they're arriving at 10, which means with Magical Express, they're probably going to get in the parks
If you're lucky.
1.
noon. I'm thinking like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. 12, probably in your resort by noon-ish. But yeah, I think 1 o'clock. So,
Yeah, so, I mean, noon, 1 o'clock. I mean, you could definitely do some fun stuff at the Magic Kingdom. Or you could do Epcot.
Check what night is Extra Magic Hour night. Go to that park.
she's...
On the 12th?
On the 13th.
13th.
That's the day she's coming in.
It's Extra Magic Hour for the Magic Kingdom. So Epcot wouldn't be terrible.
And of course...
Epcot's actually what's suggested on the crowd calendar.
Veronica also wants to know, we have done the dining plan before and felt like we were slaves to the food with all the ADRs we made. We would like to make a more than one for each night and just see where we end up. Is that a viable option? We're also trying to try restaurants that we've never been to before.
Good.
Well, let's get. She's going to ask another question. Is making ADRs from multiple places in one night a good idea?
Yes, as long as you have a different phone number to match against the reservation.
I did that. I did that once. I called up and they listed down my system, and I had made a couple of them. They're like, "Well, sir, you missed your reservation here and here and here. You made this one and you here." And they don't nothing happens to you. They don't like lock you out of the system, but it certainly doesn't look well for you. So you should probably use different phone numbers and things like that.
You can book them all at once too, or use different phone numbers. Yeah, to your point. So if you and your husband could do it, and nothing prevents you from using a different name, right?
That's right. Len Testa. It
When
works.
exactly, Len Testa. Please don't do that because I might actually beat her during that time. But yeah, so that's an idea.
Veronica also wants to know one last question. We're also trying different restaurants that we've never been to before. Should we try for our lunch table service and wing dinner, or make a dinner reservation with the plan we currently have? So if they want to try something else, should be using their table service for lunch or dinner.
So the problem with dinner reservations is, like for me, I can never get a reservation at 6 o'clock. I'm always eating at like 8:50, which is normally fine, because it just means more snacks throughout the day. The problem with that is when it interferes with the fireworks. So I do like the idea of using your table service at lunch.
Scopa, do you have an opinion on it?
I'm the same way. I prefer using it at lunchtime. Although with free dining, I don't know. But I most of the time I'll use table service for lunch or an early dinner, not a late dinner. Some people
like a 4:30 dinner.
Yeah.
Then well, what are you going to eat lunch? Or what are you going to do? You're going to skip lunch?
No, I'm going to have a late breakfast, early lunch. I'm going to have something around 11 o'clock.
A brunch? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Next email is from John Finley of Anderson, South Carolina, who writes, Walt Disney World Today gang. First of all, the obligatory sucking up. Love the podcast. Long-time listener, etc. I'm sorry I missed you at MouseFest. I am already planned to go to the week after MouseFest 2006, and I couldn't change it. I did succumb to your Dole Whip propaganda this trip. I walked past the stand that dozens of times without ever thinking of getting one, but this year I made sure I bought one and loved it. It's a regular from now on. Now if you could tell me where to buy the Bacardi.
The Bacardi.
Bacardi and Dole Whip. That's a good idea.
Where the party's at, man.
In episode 227, you discussed the dining plan. You're right. It's different for everyone, so you just have to work the numbers. I've done the packages, room only, pass holder, hopper, non-hopper, Disney dining experience, etc. Just about every way you give Disney your money, I've probably done it. One mistake I have seen people make a lot of times, though, is when you're working the numbers, include tips and tax on the a la carte calculation.
Right, yeah. Because it's at least 15%, right? And even now, I mean, it's tough to tip less than 18%.
That's right.
So
you just have to. It's a good tip.
So I actually did this on the website. I actually broke it out and assumed a 15% tip, which I think is pretty much what you can assume.
That's what I give to a
minimum,
normal,
right?
regular service. If the waiter's good, certainly give him 18 to 20%. I would say.
Yeah, I mean even now, I mean if the bill's $20, it's tough to leave a tip of less than $5, right? I mean you got to figure that if the service is decent, no matter what the meal costs, I mean, $5 is really the minimum tip. I guess you could go to $4 if it's like a $10 bill, but it's really tough to there's a minimum amount that you can tip, right? So.
Okay, so Len, so if you go to Trails End for lunch and you use your Disney dining experience, and the bill comes to $11, what kind of a tip do you leave? $5. So it's 50% tip. Wow.
But so here's the thing. So when you're calculating the tip, though, you're calculating the tip without the Disney dining experience factored in, because that's not the server's.
Yeah.
That should affect it. So you have to calculate the tip.
Exactly. Yeah. You're saving on the trip. Really. You're saving on the tip.
So two things. And this is my general philosophy for anywhere that I dine regularly. If I'm a regular customer somewhere, I am sure as heck giving the server the benefit of the doubt, because regulars get all kinds of benefits versus people who play it. And similarly at Disney World, like if I'm parking valet, I'm tipping on a regular basis there, because over time that tends to accrue. I mean, you tend to accrue benefits.
Yes.
Plus, I mean, it's not that much money. These are kids. Most of them work hard. If they're showing any amount of hustle, I don't feel bad about it at all, because they do have fairly rough jobs. So I'm just saying.
Next email is from Angus from todayinvmk.com, who writes he's calling out Scopa and Newell. In episode 228, I was surprised that Mike Newell, the Old Key West expert, and Mike Scopa, the runner, were both incorrect about getting from Old Key West to downtown Disney by walking. You can. In the south end of the Old Key West Resort, there is a jogging path that goes to Saratoga Springs. Saratoga borders the marketplace. Buildings in the paddock area and the Congress Park area of Saratoga are a 5-minute walk to the marketplace. Old Key West to downtown Disney is a comparable walk to Epcot to MGM via the boardwalk area.
So I've never been to Old Key West except by car, so that's why.
Oh.
There's the rub.
Next email is from William Vangrel of Fairfax, Virginia. Where say, guys, great show, keep up the work. Lou Mangello is great, we love Lou, etc., 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 blah, 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 blah. I have a question about episode 229, Lack of Future. I can appreciate and understand the lack of enthusiasm of attractions like Stitch and Monsters, Inc. going into Tomorrowland. However, where do you think Disney should have inserted them? I have heard this frustration from many a fan, with no alternative suggested.
I've got an idea where they can put it.
Oh, boy.
I think Disney's
sunlight there.
attempt at creating new attractions with characters today's fans recognize, for example, the Pixar characters. It seems difficult to find places for them that don't seem awkward or out of place. Just wondering your thoughts. Thanks for all your hard work. It really is a great show.
All right, so I don't have anything against the characters at all. It's strictly with the plot of Stitch. And
the lack of it.
The lack of plot. You know what the funny thing is, though? Remember the Scopa when we were there? We go through the attraction, and we come out like we're ready.
We're ready to kill.
Baby seals that just got clubbed, right? I mean, all stunned, right? We're sitting there at Cosmic Rays afterwards. We came up with like 3 better plots than what Disney had in the ride, and we did it in like 15 minutes.
And we really should apologize to the lead Imagineer who we put up against the wall and said, "What are you trying to pull with that?"
I think our actual words. What the hell was that?
Yeah, exactly. Because what happened, and this is digressing a little bit, but it's a little interesting story. Len, if you remember, it was like the soft opening, and as we were coming out, there were cast members on each side of the doors that led out into that gift shop or whatever, and they were asking everybody that came in, So how did you like it? So how did you like it?
Great.
and it basically that's a leading question. What they should have said is, did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? And I was really upset with that because the assumption was that no matter what they do, the guests were going to like it, and that wasn't the case. Do you remember, Len? Right after that show ended, we heard kids crying, and you turned to me and said, "This is not kid-friendly at all."
No, yeah, but we knew then that there were going to be some serious changes. Because, I mean, remember, though, a couple of kids left in the middle of the performance.
Yeah,
and then
about a half a dozen at least.
Yeah, that they were as stunned as we were. And I think that's when we knew it needed to have some major...
But we digress. Anyways, what was the question?
Where would you put attractions like Monsters, Inc. and Stitch if Tomorrowland isn't the place for them?
MGM.
Studios. Yep. Absolutely. I agree with that. Next email is from Phil Kemp, who writes, "Hello all. Any word on if there will ever be a Halloween party at MGM this year? Thanks."
Yeah, so I talked to Jim Hill about this because we just did the Jim Hill updates for the next version of the book, and he's thinking now 2008.
Seeing is believing. It's getting to be one of those rumors where I'm thinking it's like the monorail extension. And it's just.
But there's I think it's different than that because it's not as hard to pull off.
I agree with you. I mean, it seems simple, but I don't think. I mean, just by the fact that we've had this is like the second or third year in a row I've heard. Oh, they're going to do some iteration of a Halloween party at the studios, and every year we come and go without anything. Certainly, it's not going to happen this year because we're already in June and we need to. They have to sell tickets.
But I wonder if it's because they're afraid it's going to compete with the Magic Kingdom Halloween event.
Not so scary.
But this is how they got to look at it. They're making money either way. Either I'm spending money there, or I'm spending my money. Put on alternate nights. I'm not sure what you should do, but whatever the reason is.
That's a great idea. Not the alternating nights thing, but to have two competing ones because people will alternate between one. If they go to one, I bet you they're more likely to go to the other.
That's right.
Well, obviously they felt that.
That's a great idea.
They obviously felt that there was more that they could offer because look how early they start the Not So Scary now, September.
Yeah, it's next week, right?
Yeah,
next
week, and it ends on New Year's Eve. So, so I'm guessing that they know that there is someone out there willing to fork over some money for it, and I'm guessing that you would see less children at the MGM Studios party than you would at the Not So Scary. So the Not So Scary would be for the younger set, for the families, and the MGM one might be somewhat similar to, although I don't want to say it's going to be similar to Universal Studios, but it might be a little bit more adultish than it would be for Not So Scary. That's what I'm thinking.
Next email is from Christy of New York. Hi there. I've been trying to catch up on all your shows, so I'm not sure if this question has been asked and answered, but if you could bring back any ride or attraction that is no longer in the Disney parks, for example, Horizons or the old Illuminations or perhaps the original Figment, which would you bring back? Thanks for a great show.
Wow.
Man.
My answer is easy. Hands down, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
There's no way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Best attraction ever.
Let it go.
You could win a cruise. You can't win a cruise now.
Yeah, just like he showed us.
All right. So, Horizons is sort of coming back with the new version of Spaceship Earth. I'm gonna say, If You Had Wings.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. If You Had Wings or Horizons.
The perfect, quaint attraction, and I mean quaint in a good way. There was never a line. It was remarkably detailed. You got off the ride and said, "Let's go there." You could not have asked for a better themed attraction.
Bill, you put something ahead of your beloved Horizons?
I love Horizons. And Horizons was a great big ride, but yeah.
Cool.
I really liked If You Had Wings.
I'm totally with Len on this.
even when it morphed into Dreamflight, it was still very, very good.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it was, and it went in Tomorrowland, kind of, sort of. You could even kind of, sort of kind of close your eyes and squint and sort of see how it would sort of go in Tomorrowland. I don't know. That was a good ride.
Wow, it's really tough. I mean, I think it goes without saying that we all agree about Horizons, but I think that if I had to go beyond Horizons, I really think I'm thinking about this, and I'm kind of leaning towards Superstar Television, and the reason for that is that unlike all the other attractions, when you went into that attraction, it was a different experience every time. It epitomized what the studios were supposed to be. It put you into the movies, so to speak. You had guests going up there. Every show was a different set of guests, different reactions, and it was really entertaining. And I think that's it's nice to go into an attraction in which you're not really sure what you're going to get every time. Yeah, we go back to attractions which we love because of certain parts that we're hoping to see again and again, but the Superstar Television was just a little bit different. Superstar.
I'll take that. I'll take that, Mike.
And Sorcery in the Sky. So I like Sorcery in the Sky. I wish that was every night. I love Sorcery.
That was fun. Along the same lines, remember the original the show prior to Sounds Dangerous, the Monster
Sound Show. Yep.
Sound Show.
Yep.
That I got to do that. Yeah, I actually got to be one of the people who did the sound effects.
Yeah.
Like
Me too.
6 times on that.
I did them both. I did the one.
Was fun.
They had two different ones. They had the Chevy Chase one
And the Martin Short one.
Martin Short. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and I did them both. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. And again, that's one of those things where it's a different experience every time you go in.
Yep.
Right.
And I think one of the worst things they did was, Sounds Dangerous. You can put that up with Stitch. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's not nearly the same as.
Not entertaining at all.
You know what would have made Monster Soundstage better is if they actually had a series of movies that they could have rotated through to at least give you different experiences.
Just like
Exactly.
Superstar TV.
Right, exactly. Different sets, exactly.
Yeah. Next email is from Becky Christensen, who writes, "Hello, my daughter is 4.5, and we bought her a few pins to trade last October. This time around, we leave on soon. And I'll make sure to say hi to them.
Welcome back.
Well,
This time around, I spent about $25 on eBay and purchased 10 random official Disney pins for her to trade out. This is much less than buying pins at $6 a pop.
that's a great idea.
Good idea.
Anyway, I know that if a pin has a Disney copyright on the back, it's tradable. Is this true for Disney pins that are not from a Disney park? For example, the latest Pirates of the Caribbean and Cinderella 3 DVDs came with pins. They have the Disney copyrights on the back. Can I trade these El Cheapo pins for the bona fide Disney park pins?
I would think so.
Sure. Go up to a cast member with a lanyard. And
I don't think any cast member can keep track of the thousands and thousands and thousands of pins that Disney's putting out these days.
That's part of traditions, Len. They learn how to shut down, Splash Mountain if it breaks down, and identify counterfeit pins.
Authentic pins, yeah.
Exactly.
Next email is from Holly, who writes, "Hello, mighty Walt Disney World Today gurus. Hopefully this will get my answer questioned in time for my next trip."
May.
Oh, well.
Welcome back.
In late April 2007.
May 2007, first of all.
Damn the luck.
We're
2006.
planning a trip for May and have a question regarding the Magic Kingdom. We'd like to see pretty much everything in the Magic Kingdom and are looking for a 2-day version of the ultimate touring plan that is on touringplans.com. Free plug,
Awesome.
Glenn. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Does one exist? Or can you tell us where to put Dumbo into your traditional 2-day plan where day 1 has you starting at Space and Buzz and day 2 has you starting at Splash and Big Thunder? Whew, that was a long sentence. It is only me and my husband, so no strollers to slow us down. Any help would be outstanding. Thanks.
So I hope your trip went well, and
I hope this can help someone else.
I hope this can help someone else. So the ultimate Magic Kingdom touring plan is designed to see as many attractions as possible in one day in as short a time as possible. So it's really like 45 to 50 attractions, ride shows, parades, in about 11 and a half hours. To break that up into 2 days, you'd really want to look at something akin to the 2-day plans. And the 2-day plans have two different philosophies. We actually have two sets of 2-day plans. One is divide the parks so that you do Fantasyland, Liberty Square, and Frontierland one day, maybe part of Adventureland. And then on the second day, do Tomorrowland, Toontown, and whatever you missed in Adventureland. That's sort of the less walking version. The other version is to do Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, and Frontierland in one day, sort of crisscrossing the park. And then the same thing with the Fantasyland, Liberty Square, Adventureland on the other day. I like the first thing we talked about, though, the Fantasyland, Liberty Square, Frontierland, maybe parts of Adventureland one day. And you can really see the entire park, literally every single thing, over 2 days using that strategy.
Great. We got time for one more emails from Bill from New Hampshire, who writes, "Hey guys, I love the show and catch it as much as possible. My question is this: what technology do you use to bring all the participants on the podcast together and still have it sound so good? For example, when one of the hosts is at Walt Disney World, how do you bring them in on the podcast? Thanks. Keep up the great work."
I think that's the
Cool.
first reaction that says it sounds good.
Most people are like, "That stinks. Whatever you're doing, change it."
Thank you.
Well, why don't you explain it quickly?
Basically, we just use Skype, and the four of us are spread out throughout the country. And right now, Matt is in Atlanta, so it sounds like he's in his usual home in Connecticut. But tonight he's in Atlanta, so it sounds pretty cool.
Well, that's it for us today. If you've got your own questions, you can email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. And be sure to visit the Walt Disney World Today website for our older episodes, read our show notes, or to send in your own questions. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell.
What was that? What?
Someone screwed up on the copy on this one.
Someone?
Someone. The intern is so fired.
Marissa, get out now.
For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Jeez.
This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com.
218 representatives and 51 senators are needed to pass a new, fair Internet radio music royalty rate. Help convince them. Let them hear your voice on their phone. Call your congressmen and senators. Tell them co-sponsor the Internet Radio Equality Act. Find their names at SaveNetRadio.org.